So as I only have 5 minutes, I'm just going to provide an overview of issues around sex, intimacy, and infidelity. So I'll start off just by saying my name is Robert Hudson, and I'm a clinical director of the Hudson Center. I'm a recovering sex and love addict, and I'm a psychotherapist, sex addiction specialist. So I'm just going to take us back to the 20th century. And one of the questions I wondered here, how many of these out-of-date 20th century devices have hauled us into the 21st century? So I was thinking back of VHS, DVD, Sony Walkmans, and typewriters or pen pals. How many people do actually use these anymore? Okay, so it's good to see a few hands up there. So I then wondered, if these things don't exist anymore, where are we in the 21st century? And are we grieving these profound cultural changes? And it's impossible not to. And what I thought was, what best determines how we adjust to the grief process? And the first thing I could think about is our age. If you're a 20-year-old and a 50-year-old, you would view this very different. And grieving, I think, takes the same form as losing someone, grieving a process or an experience. And there's initially people who deny that it exists. They sort of bargain about it. It sets up a depression, or we accept that actually this is the reality. And I think Erin talked this morning about Skype therapy, and sometimes these are the realities we have to confront to deal with at this point. Or are we somewhere in the middle where we go back and forth? So I said here that we note the escalating speed of technological changes. And if you think about radio, it took 38 years to reach our homes. Television took 13, the internet took 4, social networking took 16 months, and smartphone apps took 9 months. So as you can see, things are moving dramatically and pretty quickly. And what I'm saying is that whatever is yet to come is now here before we even know it. So let's look at the new world and the shifting concept. And in one example today, infidelity can no longer be defined in physical terms. I think of it more globally as the keeping of secrets in an intimate relationship, and that's often the bit I will stay with. Because often you find people have a double life, there is something quite separate to the relationship that the other person have no idea about. So think of how technology has escalated our ability to be more readily obtain intense, refined substance in the 20th century. There were high-calorie foods, distilled alcohol, and drugs. Moving to the 21st century, we have gambling, gaming, shopping, sexual content, and experiences. So let's think about how we understand technology and the addiction. And what we often talk about here is an escalation of the behavior which we're just unable to stop. So regardless of how we try with willpower to say, I would only spend 5 minutes looking at the internet, it often escalates further over time. So why addiction? Now, while the majority of us may take pleasure in these more immediate or more intense or more accessible pleasurable substances and experiences, the vulnerable among us end up addictive. So if you think about alcohol, it's actually pretty much fairly similar. Most people or some people can actually drink socially, others struggle to actually do that. And porn, it's the same. Some people can look at pornography in a social, healthy way, and others become addictive. So how does technological advances evoke behavioral escalation? Now, I tend to have more questions here than answers because I only have 5 minutes. So I'm only using the questions to provoke people at this point and to get them thinking. So how prepared are you today to clinically manage adult life-related tech issues? Has it occurred to you yet that the digital social media world is a unique and separate world and culture from our own lives? And how educated are we in the clinical management of child-teen-related tech issues? I think someone asked the question this morning about children, and that's been a current issue. How do we support children from not being exposed to pedophiles online? So if I just move on for a moment here. So below are the most popular app-based, geolocated friend finders or hookup apps for casual sex today. And I start with Tinder, which I think, again, was covered this morning, and that's what single straight people often use. Gay men use Grindr. I'm assuming most people know what these things are. lesbian use crush. And what we're saying here, and if you feel bad after, there is also an app-based solution for that too. It's called Confession. So if you use all of this and it doesn't work, you can move further on here. So how can we clinically, just to sum this up, how can clinicians stay current? And I'm saying here by learning how to negotiate and understand the world of our young people and the highly tech-savvy adults. To me, it's really simple. By understanding these issues as they present and not how they are slanted by the media or social peers. To raise awareness and save families, and to set and to negotiate useful tech-related boundaries, and to separate the issues from the tech, and to offer our insight and non-judgment or fear. So I will end there.